YouTube and Twitch both come together to come up with a plan to get rid of the people that they don't like. So we'll talk a bit about both. Eric Swalwell may be a little bit more compromised than people might think, and nobody wants to talk about it. Minneapolis cuts funding by $8 million amid a massive crime surge to their police department, and we'll do a thing that I like and a thing that I hate. But for the most part, we're going to talk about this YouTube thing. I'm Jay Edgar, and this is Contemporary. Good morning, folks. Welcome to Contemporary. My name is Jay Edgar. We've got some stuff to get to today. Definitely some things to look at, some things to talk about. And it's going to be a rant. There is going to be a rant incoming, definitely. I saw this YouTube thing and I'm like, you fuckers. You have people that are out there making their living on your website and bringing you money on top of it. And you just want to purge them out after the federal government has set themselves up into this massive reality show that people could capitalize on. But it's not the people that you want them to capitalize on with. But this may be another move in the entire reality show thing as well. I considered that this morning too. Another way to sell more commercials by people getting outraged over the fact that this is happening. But we'll talk about that. We'll talk about Swalwell, a little bit of election stuff, just a little bit of stuff in general. I have one that's just breaking now about Hunter Biden too, that I added after I hit the live button because I saw it on Twitter right as I hit the live button. But before we get into this, well, hold on. Before we get into the website here, I do want to point something else out here, and I have this tweet up on purpose because I looked at this and I said, you know what? I don't want to be competing in shitposting. I don't shitpost for the competition, you guys. I shitpost because the left is really fucking stupid. That is the reason that I shitpost. Not for a competition, not to win some sort of contest. Luckily, mostly apolitical racing fan at Liberty Sports 2, whose tweets are protected, so most of you aren't going to be able to go and see this tweet, unfortunately, unless you already follow the dude. But mostly apolitical racing fan set me up against Jessica Green, who's very easy for me to tell you to go vote for because she's awesome. She's a very deep friend of the show. She's the only other person who said, and this is Contemporary. So, the sooner I'm out of this competition, the sooner I can go back to shitposting freely because people are stupid, not because people think I'm trying to win some sort of competition. So, if this guy unlocks his Twitter, if you guys could all go and vote for Jessica Green, which I don't know why 12 people voted for me anyway. I told you all not to, but if you could all go and vote for Jessica Green, get me knocked out of this competition so I can go back to regular shitposting, that would be awesome. And before we get into the news, head on over to freedomscoop.com. freedomscoop.com is going to be your one-stop shop for all of your news and commentary needs, carrying great shows, including the ones that are currently suspended right now, like The Daily Ignoramus, The Generational Gap, The Freckles and Brit Show, The R-Rated Conservative, and The Breakdown with Birkenhoff. Come on over there, pick up some of our swag, and help us support great creators. Even though it is getting a little bit lonely right now with everybody suspended, and it looks like I might be the only one that's uploading right now. Generational Gap hasn't popped back up yet, which we will go back and figure out why. I gotta get with Jake and figure out what's going on with the website here, but come on over there, be part of the community, pick up some of our swag, and help us support great creators. Alright, to look at the Dow. Looks like we had a pretty major downswing yesterday, which I'm pretty sure has to do with the fact that everybody looked out and said, oh wait, the presidential election isn't over yet. Now, we haven't dropped below 30,000 yet. I have a feeling that it's coming. But I also am entertained by the fact that the websites like your IBDs, your CNBCs, Motley Fool, Business Insider, they are going out of their way to not say this is because of the election. They are finding anything else in the world to try and say that we're not hedging our bets hoping that we can get somebody in there that we can control, because they're all big business people. So, we will see what's happening from that. Let's see what the investors have to say. MarketSmith, 10th anniversary sale, 3 weeks for only $19.95. No. All right, from IBD, Dow Jones Futures dip, Tesla stock downgrade drags on NASDAQ as jobs data, FDA vaccine hearing loom. From Ellen R. Elliott, S&P 500 and Dow Jones stock futures shed near early gains, and NASDAQ 100 futures led a pullback. Thursday, markets awaited weekly jobless claims data and an FDA coronavirus vaccine hearing, while also keeping close tabs on progress in Washington toward a potential COVID-19 relief bill. Starbucks and Baidu led, Tesla lagged on the NASDAQ, IPOs were on the radar, with Airbnb set to debut, DoorDash set for day 2, and Asana poised for a breakout. Among Dow Jones stocks, Apple and Salesforce.com led the pre-market declines. Dow Jones futures eased a fraction, S&P 500 futures traded 0.15% below fair value. NASDAQ 100 futures downshifted 0.5% after the index snapped a 10-day advance on Wednesday. Small caps showed some early resilience, although Russell 2000 futures slipped out of early gains to traded narrowly in the red. I've got a feeling there's a grammar error there too, which once you get in the zone and you start reading, you see that and it just throws you right off the sentence. On the NASDAQ, Starbucks was an early leader, up 3.3% after management updated its 2021 earnings and comp sales guidance. At an investors event, Starbucks shares are just attempting to break resistance at the stock's prior high set in July 2019. Starbucks sucks. Go to Dunkin'. Dunkin's getting real political too, but I still like their coffee. Baidu shares jumped on an analyst price target height. Baidu shares are up 9% in December after a struggling breakout begun in mid-October. Shares have broken past their January peak and ended Wednesday at their highest level since May of 2019. Tesla dropped nearly 4% following a downgrade to sell from the New Street. The note held the stock's 12-month price target unchanged at $578. The holdout, the longer-term target, at $1,200 for 2025. Facebook shares dropped more than 1% after the news late Thursday that federal state antitrust suits had officially been launched against the company. Yeah, I didn't put that on the stack either, but that's going on too. They want to say, whoa, we got to do antitrust against Facebook, otherwise they'll get to be too big. Dude, stop using Facebook. I must have your data. Give me your data. I must sell and sell and sell and sell. I say this while I'm transmitting to Facebook. That's what's going on up here. Fiber optic gear maker Ciena faded almost 4% after a soft fiscal fourth quarter report. IBD leaderboard stock Adobe ADBE, which I'm guessing that was supposed to be the symbol, and they forgot to put in parentheses, was expected to report early Thursday. So, then they'll tell us about the buy points and the stimulus, but not tell us that this has something to do with the election and trying to put another corporate puppet into the office. Let's see if CNBC is a little bit more forthcoming, shall we? Dow falls more than 100 points as tech drop pushes the stocks off record highs. From Fred Imbert and Maggie Fitzgerald. Stocks fell on Wednesday, retreating from record highs set earlier in the day as tech shares struggled and traders weighed the prospects of new fiscal stimulus. The Dow Jones Industrial Average closed 105.07 points lower, or 0.35% at 30,068.81. The S&P 500 fell 0.8% to 3672.82. The NASDAQ Composite pulled back by 1.9% to close at 12,338.95. Earlier in the session, the Dow was up more than 100 points. All three averages also touched fresh intraday records. Apple was among the worst performing Dow components, falling more than 2%. Salesforce dropped 3.2%. The S&P 500 tech sector fell 1.9% to lead the index lower. Facebook declined 1.9% after the Federal Trade Commission, along with several states, filed lawsuits that could force the social media giant to divest Instagram and WhatsApp. They're controlling everything, don't you know? Yeah, the government doesn't need to tell people how to spend their own fucking money. If you don't like it, make your competitor. And then you'll either get better or get rich when Zuckerberg comes out and buys your ass out. And then you can go spend your money and build something else. This whole antitrust thing. And I don't like the idea of a monopoly either. But I think it sets a worse precedent when the government comes in and tells people how they can spend their money. That's how we get shit like the ACA. Alright. That's what I have on the stocks here. Let's talk about this dumb fuck blog post that came out. Thank you, Styx Hexenhammer 666, both for bringing this to my attention and for archiving it for me so I didn't have to run it through the archiver myself. This is from YouTube's official blog, which that's a big part of the reason that I'm glad this is archived, because I've got a feeling with the pushback that some of this brought, especially when bigger creators like Styx came out and brought this out to the forefront, that this might have disappeared by this morning. I haven't even checked. I don't even know where to find this in its original form. But either way, there's a good chance that this could have disappeared at some point overnight because they realized this was a dumb fuck move. From YouTube's official blog supporting the 2020 US election by the YouTube team. Think of how happy this sounds and all the happy news they're about to tell you here. Over the past weeks and months, we've seen people coming to YouTube to learn more about where and how to vote, or learning more about a candidate or an issue. We've seen organizations grow their audience. And by organizations, you mean CNN, Fox News, Late Night with Fuckstick Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon. That's who you've seen growing their audience. The people that get their fucking clapter, and the people that are selling commercials. And that wall of priority creators that you have in front of anything else that anybody would else want to look up. I've heard of things like de-mainstream YouTube, by the way. This is a little side note for that. It's a browser extension. I haven't tried it yet. I've heard it's good. I've heard that it keeps your Foxes, your CNNs. Unfortunately, it'll keep your C-SPAN off the front too, but it'll just keep all the mainstream stuff off the front page. Now, I don't know if it'll work for me, because of the fact that I do like to take things from YouTube and cut them up from the mainstreams when I do the Red Ned show. So I don't know if it'll block that out completely and I will never have access to it again, or if I've got to do this the other way. But for your regular consumer of content, if you get the de-mainstream YouTube app, you can probably go without seeing any of this shit. However, if the contents of this article are any sort of a threat, that may not matter here in the near future. Let's keep going. And we've seen people turn to YouTube for the latest election results or simply to follow a historic event with the highest voting turnout in over a century in the US. I still need a citation on that because I still don't believe that, come on man, I got hairy legs, got more votes than Barack Obama in Atlanta, Detroit, Philadelphia, Milwaukee, Las Vegas, and Phoenix. And of course, this video, the replay of this video, has a very, very big danger of getting taken down. Just for the fact that I'm saying that, I think they're going to fucking bot the shit out of this. Our main goal going into this election season was to make sure that we're connecting people with authoritative information, which means Fox and CNN and MSDNC and C-SPAN and CNBC. You know, all these friendly, advertiser-friendly places that we can stick with 25 commercials in a 10-minute video. These fucking things. While also limiting the reach of misinformation, i.e. independent creators, and removing harmful content. The work here is ongoing, and we wanted to provide an update. Our community guidelines prohibit spam, scams, or other manipulated media. I love the term manipulated media, because all media is manipulated. I mean, I move the camera around here, I'm manipulating media. I take a second over here and play with my sound settings and play with where the microphone goes. I'm manipulating media. Hell, manipulated media was first discovered when PewDiePie figured out how to do a fucking jump cut. Manipulated media. Fuck you. coordinated influence operations, and any content that seeks to incite violence. Since September, we've terminated over 8,000 channels. Yeah, I wouldn't fucking brag about that if I was you. Especially with Facebook going into an antitrust suit. I would not be bragging about that. That's a part of the reason I'm glad this is archived, because that's not something that I would want to show up in court if antitrust hit Google land. And thousands of harmful and misleading elections-related videos for violating our existing policies. Over 77% of those removed videos were taken down before they had 100 views. So, we're going to fucking gatekeep. We're going to tell you what it is that you need to see. We are the provider of your information. This is fucking Animal Farm right here. Even worse, this is 1984. What are you talking about? Eurasia's always been at war with Oceania. We also work to make sure that the line between what is removed and what is allowed is drawn in the right place. Our policies prohibit misleading viewers about where and how to vote. So, the old joke of, and honestly, before I go into that, I do want to say, which direction does this go? Because, I mean, the old joke, depending on which direction your party goes, who's saying it, essentially? I'm going to assume a Democrat saying this for whatever. The old joke is, Democrats, make sure that you get out and vote on Tuesday. Republicans, make sure you get out and vote on Wednesday. That is an old joke. Everybody knows what election day is at this point. This is just an excuse to purge the people that you don't fucking like. We also disallow content alleging widespread fraud or errors changed the outcome of an historical U.S. election. However, in some cases, that has meant allowing controversial views on the outcome or process of counting votes of a current election as election officials have worked to finalize the counts. We disallow content alleging widespread vote fraud or errors changed the outcome of a historical U.S. presidential election. Really? Would you like to go back and talk about all of the videos that came out of the fucking Young Turks for the last 4 fucking years? Would we like to have a conversation about that? I would love to sit down. Well, no, I wouldn't love to sit down and do this because that would be mental torture to the point that I would drink an entire bottle of scotch in an hour's time. But I would love to sit down with you, Susan Wojcicki, and look through every Rachel Maddow video that's still on YouTube. Every Young Turks video that's still on YouTube. Every Anderson Cooper video that's still on YouTube. That says, "Oh my God, the Russians!" It's like fucking Kermit sitting there being excited about something. Let's have a conversation about that. Let's see what you guys have to say about something like that. At this point, I want to remind you, because this video is probably gone, and my channel might be nuked from orbit at this point. I do have a backup channel. It's my Clips channel, but I'll release it if it comes down to it. But in the description below, you'll also find links to the DLive and the Twitch. It's always Twitch. And we'll talk about those cocksticks too in just a second, but you'll find links to other alternative media sources that I post to, and my BitChute as well. You'll find a link to that. It is sad that an English company, BitChute, cares more about free speech than Susan Wojcicki and their adjunct piece of fucking Google that they call YouTube, which is based in California. But yeah, let's have a conversation about how much Russia disinformation videos are still up there to this day. Let's have that conversation, because I'd be interested to see what you have to say about that. Are those videos coming down? Because that is alleging widespread fraud in a historic U.S. election. The first time that a non-politician got to the presidency on his first try. That's a historic U.S. election. Let's talk about that. However, in some cases, that has meant allowing controversial views on the outcome process of counting votes of a current election as election officials have worked to finalize counts. Yesterday was the safe harbor deadline for the U.S. presidential election, and enough states have certified their election results to determine a president-elect. Not true. Texas and 13 other states have come together, and they're challenging it. This is an active Supreme Court case. That is not true. That is disinformation right there in and of itself. Given that, we will start removing any piece of content uploaded today or any time after that misleads people by alleging that widespread fraud. Okay, so this is their fucking workaround. It's starting today, folks. It's not anywhere else. It's starting today that they're going to pull this shit down. Starting today. So anything else that happened over the last four, no, that's fair game. These are creators that we like anyway. So we're not going to touch them. It's just starting today. That misleads people by alleging that widespread fraud or errors changed the outcome of the 2020 presidential election in line with our approach toward U.S. presidential elections. For example, we will remove videos claiming that a presidential candidate won the election due to widespread software glitches. Those fucking glitches. Glitches be tripping, yo. Or counting errors. We will begin enforcing this policy today, and we will ramp up the weeks to come. As always, news coverage and commentary on these issues can remain on our site if there's sufficient education, documentary, scientific, or artistic context. So, in other words, CNN, NBC, and PB-fucking-S. Connecting people to authoritative information. Most viewed election-related content. Top channels. There you go. ABC News, NBC News, USA Today, CNN, CBS News. Top videos. ABC News, USA Today, NBC News, CBS News, NBC News. You know, the people that they shoved right up on the front. When you don't have the D-mainstream YouTube app going. All those channels that are right up on the front. The wall of priority creators. While only a small portion of watch time is election-related content. I'd love to see the statistics on that. Because, by the way, my analytics have gone through the roof since you guys started doing this. But, let's go on. YouTube continues to be an important source of election news. On average, 88% of the videos in the top 10 search results related to elections came from authoritative news sources. Yeah, that's called an algorithm. Amongst the rest are things like newsy late-night shows. I can't believe that Donald Trump wants to take away the ACA. Oh my God! Creator videos and commentary. And the most viewed channels and videos are from news channels like NBC and CBS. Because we told you that that's the only thing that you're allowed to see. We showed information panels linking both to Google's election results feature, which sources election results from the Associated Press, and to the cybersecurity and infrastructure security agencies' rumor control page. Oh, so the government and the AP are going to be involved in this. That's how you're going to determine who it is that you don't like, who is a problematic creator on your website. For debunking election integrity misinformation, alongside these and over 200,000 other election-related videos. Collectively, these information panels have been shown over 4.5 billion times. Starting today, we will update this information panel, linking to the 2020 Electoral College results page from the Office of the Federal Registrar. Nothing that, as of December 8th, states have certified presidential election results with Joe Biden as the president-elect. It will continue to include a link to CISA, explaining that states certify results after ensuring ballots are properly counted and correcting irregularities and errors. Additionally, since Election Day, relevant fact-checking information panels, Snopes, PolitiFact, CNN, from third-party fact checkers called it, were triggered over 200,000 times above relevant election-related search results, including for voter fraud narratives such as Dominion voting machines and Michigan recount. So, this is going to get botted to fucking shit. Dominion voting machines, Dominion voting machines, Dominion voting machines, Michigan recount, Michigan recount. Fuck you, bot. Now, let's look at recommendations. One of the main ways our viewers find content. Limiting the reach of borderline content and prominently surfacing authoritative information are important ways that we protect people from problematic content that doesn't violate our community guidelines. In other words, if you go watch a J. Edgar video, we will make sure, because it is listed as a news and commentary video, we will make sure that the next video you see comes from Fox. We will make sure of that. And if you do try to go and watch his channel again, we will deboost you. Deboost him and make sure that you get a bigger wall of priority content. And prominently surfacing authoritative information are important ways we protect people from problematic content. You mean the people that fucking built YouTube. This is bullshit at this point. And I can't believe the fact that YouTube has become another on-demand cable service. That the likes of CNN, NBC, Fox News, even Zero America News, the Daily Wire, that's what's building YouTube right now. I remember when I first started watching YouTube, all the way back in the day, and I didn't know a lot of the old YouTubers. Like, I hear about Jake Paul, and I'm like, who? People like that. Philly D, I have no idea who the fuck that is. Roosh V, I don't know who that is. But I remember looking at and seeing Icy Ran Girl, some small-time video game content, where she was playing Brutal Mario World, and every fourth word was fuck. Or seeing Jenna Marbles get up there and dress up like Sarah Palin. Well, we're going to start to make some American cookies, but let me take my top off first. That kind of bullshit. That kind of edgy, fun content. You know, and it's like Stick said, YouTube used to be edgy shit and bum fights. All the weird shit, all the weird religious shit. And then the History Channel and CNN looked up and said, hey, we can get in on this shit, and we can figure out what's going on. We can take control of this, because we can sit back here, and people think that they're getting independent content. They think that they're cutting the cord, and we can still prioritize their information. I hope they realize what they're doing here. I really hope that YouTube does, because I like having YouTube as a platform that I can work from. Because I like the fact that I can pull, we have our new progressive friend that's in the chat. I don't know if he's here right now, but Flancorp. Our new progressive, I would never have been able to reach that voice if I was restricted to DLive and BitChute. Because the mainstream media has told Flancorp that DLive and BitChute are Nazi sites. These are voices that I would never be able to reach. And we can have a conversation with somebody like Flancorp. He's a decent guy, and of course we get the Twitch progressives that come in here every once in a while, and Silentcaster, but Silentcaster's cool, but we get the Twitch progressives that come in here. The dipshit yesterday, well, your mod said that this is J. Edgar Hoover, and that's misinformation. My name actually is J. Edgar, by the way. That's not a nickname that I brought up to, Steven, I think I saw Steven in the chat earlier. He knows what my first name is. He knows what the J stands for. But yes, this is what YouTube is doing right now, and there is a good chance that this channel gets nuked from fucking orbit. I put this in the Discord yesterday, and I told Elaine that we might have to watch our tongues about what we say about the election this coming week, and she said cocksuckers. And then she got to level 4, which I still don't know what that means for the robot, but the robot knows what it means. So, that's what they're doing here. That's what's happening. And if you start to see your favorite channels get nuked from orbit, remember, find your favorite channels and creators over on the mainline tech platforms and tell them that there is another way. We have a DLive. And it's the same thing. If you're following Steven, well, Steven's been nuked from his main channel, 4 times now, Steven? How many times have you nuked on that? Generational Gap has had a video shut down. Make sure that you're following their alternative platforms. The R-rated conservative, he's currently off YouTube right now. Which, I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen the RRC podcast, but you knew that one was coming. The guy likes to talk, and he likes to talk like an Italian Boston guy. And somehow I don't think that that's going to be completely advertiser friendly all the time or completely YouTube friendly. All right, but that's what we're seeing off of this. How long did we spend on that? 20 minutes ranting about that? We got to get to the rest of the news, you guys. But we have some more mainstream gatekeeper bullshit to go with. This is from The Verge. Twitch overhauls its rules around harassment and hateful conduct. They'll go into effect on January 22nd. From Bihan Steven. Today, Twitch is announcing changes to its policies around harassment and hateful conduct. The reason, the company says, is because marginalized people, women, members of the LGBTQIA+ community, Black, Indigenous, and people of color, the company wrote in a blog post, are disproportionately harassed on the site. No, they're not. Every Twitch stream that I see at this point, other than your political commentary, like what we're doing right now, is some super fucking woke progressive. And I do enjoy their stuff from time to time. But for the most part, we just get these super woke progressives. No, you're not getting that disproportionate harassment on Twitch. At least not from my experience. Maybe I'm looking in the wrong places. Maybe there are some deep, dark corners of Twitch where people actually have fun and speak freely. But the last time I watched a video game stream on Twitch, NixPip told me that we don't meme pronouns. And I very much do meme pronouns. In spite of the progressivism, NixPip is actually a very enjoyable watch, and if you like Animal Crossing, I recommend watching her channel, NYXPIP. She's cool, even if she is a little bit on the woke side. The new policy is far more specific about what constitutes harassment and abuse. The larger changes include stricter protections around sexual harassment. The policy extended off-platform to an extent, and that enforcement in cases that are harder to judge will rely on external signals that the behavior was unwanted, like channel timeouts. A bigger overhaul has come to Twitch's policy regarding sexual harassment. It's now much more stringent in what is and isn't permitted. And it now has its own category in the terms of service. Yeah, that's not going to get weaponized in any way, shape, or form. The policy now prohibits repeatedly commenting on someone's perceived attractiveness. Dude, that's how 3/4 of Twitch has made their careers at this point. ASMR videos, weird shit, Belle Delphine showing her snatch on fucking Twitch. That's how they've made that's how 3/4 of the platform has made its living. Is Sims coming in and saying, "Oh my god, you're a goddess, Belle Delphine. Please send me your bathwater." Even in what you believe to be a positive or complimentary manner. How? How are you going to maintain Twitch if you eliminate all the simps? How are you going to do this? That's your bread and butter over there, you guys. What the fuck is going through Bezos' mind? Simping holds Twitch up for that guy. If there's an indication the behavior was unwelcome, if you've been asked to stop and banned from the channel or timed out, it also forbids making lewd or explicit comments about anyone's sexuality or physical appearance. So basically, a bunch of 14-year-olds can't be sitting around playing Call of Duty, teabagging each other and calling each other fucking figs. Specifically stating that the company will not make an exception for public figures. Oh. So PewDiePie, can't go in and play Call of Duty and then teabag his opponents and call them fucking figs. Got a feeling that if it was PewDiePie, and I don't even know if PewDiePie's on Twitch at this point, but I got a feeling that if it was PewDiePie, they'd make an exception for him. Twitch says that new rules will apply to content created on January 22nd, the day it goes into effect, and afterward. The company also says that while the policy is more stringent in some ways, it will also dole out punishments according to the severity. It'll be subjective. It's not going to be about severity. It's going to be about who's towing the fucking woke line and who gets accused of not being woke enough. I see what you're doing. Enforcement will also depend on signals from targeted individuals in cases where potentially offending behavior is more subjective. In the event of a more subjective situation, for example, competitive banter or trash talk will rely on signals from the person being targeted or their mods. Oh! So we have a trash talk. Yeah, this isn't going to get weaponized in any way, shape, or form. DLive.TV/EdsBlog Twitter, in case you're wondering. Because I might be off some of these other platforms. Wouldn't it be fucking awesome if I got Twitch banned before YouTube banned, which, given the fact that they're putting their shit in early, means that it's probably going to be YouTube first. But wouldn't that be something? And I think I'm the only person. No, I'm sorry, Birkenhoff too. No, Birkenhoff, the Freckles and Brit Show, but Freckles and Brit Show is pretty new as well. Okay, never mind. I'm not the only person on the Freedom Scoop Network that hasn't had one of their channels nuked. At least in some capacity. I mean, Generational Gap didn't technically get nuked. They just had their stream taken down for talking about cheese by fence store. But that's what's happening in channel world. So, definitely check in on that. Yeah. Creates 3 backup channels. I'll probably be doing the same, Steven. Alright, with that, let's get into some news and some other tremendously stupid shit. Because there is a bunch of tremendously stupid shit. Starting with Click to Houston, KPRC, news at 10. Bill seeking to modify Texas's castle doctrine causes stir ahead of 2021 legislative season. This is from Aaron Barker. A bill seeking to modify the so-called castle doctrine in Texas is getting lawmakers riled up ahead of the legislative session that begins next year. The castle doctrine is outlined in Section 941 of the state's penal code. Penal, not penile. It gives people the right to use deadly force to protect their land and tangible, movable property. State Rep. Terry Meza D. Irving filed House Bill 196 in early November, which would modify part of the code to require homeowners to be unable to safely retreat before deadly force can be used. I'm not going to go very much further in this article because I have to stop right there and say that's not going to go over real well in Texas. That's going to go over like a fucking fart in a spacesuit in Texas. It would also require or remove robbery and aggravated robbery as crimes that could legally be stopped by deadly force by property owners. I'm sorry, that is going to go over like a Led Zeppelin. Some have insinuated that Meza's bill seeks to end the castle doctrine because it requires them to retreat from their property before shooting. Well, yeah, that's technically true, but it's only modifying. However, Meza took to Twitter last month to say that her bill and position have been misrepresented. Okay, I'm listening. It does not repeal the castle doctrine, and it does not restrict homeowners from using firearms in self-defense, as applicable to current Texas stand your ground laws. Meza wrote in a November 19th tweet, "What my bill would do if passed would require a homeowner to exhaust the potential of safely retreating into their habitation before using deadly force in a defense of themselves or their properties." Meza said that her bill is necessary because current law emboldens people to take justice into their own hands. We're going to level with you here. I live in a duty to retreat state. With that being said, I don't know if you have entered my home. If you're here to get my truck keys and take my truck, because nobody can figure out how to fucking hotwire a vehicle anymore. If you're here to take my laptop because you see it glowing in the fucking window. If you're here to kill me or to rape my girlfriend. I don't know what your intentions are. However, when something like that happens, I'm not going to come out, sit on the chair, and say, I'm sorry, sir, what is it? Let's talk about what you're doing here. Let's have it. No, that's not going to fucking happen. If you have entered my home unwelcome, in a position that puts myself or my girlfriend in risk, at danger, I'm not going to ask you what you're doing. You'll get a warning shot. I'll give you that. Because I'm not the kind of person that wants to have that death on my conscience. I talk a big game, but I'm not that kind of person. I will give you an opportunity to modify your behavior and continue living. But I am not going to retreat away from you. No, 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 no. And I am in a duty to retreat state. Meza goes on and says, I don't believe that stealing someone's lawn ornament should be an offense punishable by death. Well, realistically, I have to know for a fact that that's what you're doing, is coming in to steal to steal my lawn ornament. That's what I have to know first. Texas Governor Greg Abbott replied to Meza's tweet Wednesday, saying there will be no reduction to the state's castle doctrine. We won't force Texas homeowners to retreat, Abbott wrote in the tweet, especially with the crazy defund the police ideas. Homeowners need to protect themselves now more than ever. Based Greg Abbott. The Texas legislature, which convenes every 2 years, begins a new session on January 12th. So, that's what's happening in Texas. Isn't that fun? And just to show that I'm being completely fair with this, first, this is Terry Meza herself. We read this tweet. My bill HB 196 and my position on Texas castle doctrine has been misrepresented. Wow. I have the hiccups and I can't read. My bill, HB 196, and my position on the Texas Castle Doctrine has been misrepresented in the news as of late. It does not repeal the Castle Doctrine, and it does not restrict homeowners from using firearms in self-defense, as applicable to the current Texas Stand Your Ground laws. What my bill would do, if passed, would require homeowners to exhaust the potential of safely retreating into their habitation before using deadly force in defense of themselves or their property. I filed this bill because the Castle Doctrine, as it currently exists, emboldens people to take justice into their own hands. While theft is obviously wrong, we have laws to address that. I don't believe that stealing someone's lawn ornament should be an offense punishable by death. Now, I can't attribute this last part to truth that I'm about to say, because it was only found in a picture and it's in a private group chat, so I can't even come up and show it right now because I didn't get permission from the original poster. As of the time I started streaming anyway, I didn't have permission from the original poster, but there is allegedly another quote out there from Meza. Allegedly, not confirmed, but there is allegedly another quote out there from Meza that says, robbers and thieves only carry firearms for self-defense. Once again, not confirmed. Take that as you will. But that's actually what goes here. And then I do have the bill here, which I will link to the Discord and to the Twitter as well. Texas House Bill 196, pre-filed legislature. Relating to the use of deadly force in defense of a person or property, be it enacted that by the legislature of the state of Texas, Section 1, Amended to read as follows. A person is justified in using deadly force against another if the actor A is justified in using force. They crossed out if the actor would be against the other under section 931 and is unable to safely retreat and then this is struck out. They struck out when and to the degree the actor reasonably believes the deadly force is immediately necessary. So it looks like there are already some amendments that are on the document here to protect the actor against the other's use of attempted and unlawful deadly force, or to prevent the other's imminent commission of aggravated kidnapping, murder, sexual assault, or aggravated sexual assault. Like I said, and you can read the bill in full. It looks like it's a pretty short read, probably 1 page. I will link that up for you. So it's a pretty short read on this, but if somebody busts in, which would be a weird thing because, I live in a small town. I don't lock the door. I do not. But if somebody busts in, I'm not going to come out and say, hey, buddy, you want the lamp? Oh, no, you want the laptop? Oh, you want my car? No. I'm not going to sit here and try and figure out whether the dude wants to kill me, rape me, or take my stuff. Because by the time the question is out of my mouth, one of the above two could have already happened. So, that's an interesting take. Let's keep going. From the Hill, Trump asked Cruz to argue the Texas case. And Cruz said, "Yes, master, yes, master." From John Bowden. President Trump has asked Texas Senator Ted Cruz to present a case from his state's attorney general seeking to invalidate the election results of several key battleground states before the Supreme Court, should it decide to hear the suit. The New York Times, a former newspaper, reported on Wednesday. The lawsuit from Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton seeks to void the vote certifications of Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Georgia, and Michigan, arguing that the results are tainted by the new election processes in those states. The court has not yet agreed to hear the case on its merits and on Tuesday rejected efforts by pro-Trump attorneys to overturn the results in Pennsylvania in a separate case. White House officials did not immediately return a request for comment. From the Hill, the president has 4 weeks refused to concede his election loss to Joe Biden and has launched legal efforts in multiple states with no success thus far to overturn the president-elect's victory in key battlegrounds. He's not the president-elect, dude. Oh, well, there went my YouTube channel. I just said he's not the president-elect. Everybody drink! Legal experts have largely panned the president's efforts as unserious thus far and have spared no criticism for the latest effort by Trump's allies in Texas. It looks like we have a new leader in the craziest lawsuit filed to purportedly challenge the election category, wrote Steve Vladek, a law professor at the University of Texas at Austin, on Twitter. News of the president's request to Cruz comes shortly after he told his followers Wednesday in a tweet that he would be intervening in the Texas case while not specifying what the intervention would look like. Well, Don, love what you did with the economy, hate what you did with spending, love what you did to people who were Twitter trolls, love how you made their fucking heads explode, but I'm going to offer you a little bit of free advice that you're probably not going to see because this is a low-flying channel. Stay the fuck out of this lawsuit. Let the lawyers get in there and do what it is that they're trying to do. And somebody, please, for the love of God, while this lawsuit's going through, change the password on President Trump's Twitter account so he can't shoot himself in the ass or the fucking foot over it. Because he has a tremendously large ability to do just that. But we will see what happens off this. This is the one I'm interested in. Because everything else seems to be just partisan actors coming out and saying, no evidence. We don't even want to fucking hear this. Just get the fuck out of here. All right, let's keep going. I got some video for you. This crazy bitch. Out of Michigan, Cynthia Johnson threatened Trump supporters in a Facebook Live video on Tuesday, saying it's a warning message to those who support the president. Let's have a look and a listen.
So this is just a warning to you Trumpers. Be careful. Walk lightly. We ain't playing with you. Enough of the shenanigans. Enough is enough. And for those of you who are soldiers, you know how to do it. Do it right. Be in order. Make them pay. I love y'all.
Okay, let's figure out why that is why that's a scary thing. I do believe, yes, from this here, Michigan State Representative Cynthia Johnson gets a punishment for her video threatening Trump supporters. Threats to Democrats or Republicans are unacceptable and un-American. They're even more unbecoming of an elected official. Representative C.A. Johnson has been stripped of her committees, and we're looking into further disciplinary action as the proper authorities conduct their investigation. So, yeah, she got slapped there, and Aaron Jones is very correct on the top of this one. She's going to pull the race card in 3, 2, 1. But yeah, it's, other people in there are calling for her resignation, and I do think that it's time. Now, yes, of course, she's going to come back and pull up and say the race card off this. But, I mean, as I always say in anything political discourse, reverse the parties. Tell me what that would have sounded like and looked like if, I don't know, Tom Cotton had said, hey, yeah, you Biden folks there, yeah, you better be careful coming up into this. First off, I would be in there having a word with Tom Cotton myself, because that's a step too fucking far. But what do you think the news media would be saying if Tom Cotton, or for fuck's sakes, Paul Ryan for that matter, or somebody prominent, Robin Vos, because this is a state level representative, Robin Vos from the Wisconsin Assembly, what would have happened if one of those people had said something like this about Biden supporters? Do you think that there would be any other headline out there right now? Do you think we would hear a word about coronavirus right now if some Republican state rep had said the same thing about Biden supporters? What do you think would be happening right now? Because I'm going to tell you right off the bat, it wouldn't be pretty. All right, let's keep going. Swallowwell. The nuclear fart. Representative Eric Swalwell accuses Donald Trump of leaking a report connecting him to Chinese spy. From the Daily Wire's Emily Zanotti. Representative Eric Swalwell lashed out at President Trump in an interview with Politico Tuesday, accusing Trump of leaking the explosive allegations to Axios because Swalwell remains one of Trump's most vocal critics. Republicans pounce, you say? The Daily Wire reported Tuesday that Swalwell was among Chinese national Christine Fang's targets, and that Justice Department officials had to warn Swalwell off an ongoing business relationship with Fang after discovering that Fang was cultivating ties to political figures who had the potential to end up as national political candidates. Fang targeted up-and-coming politicians in the Bay Area and across the country who had the potential to make it big on the national stage through campaign fundraising, extensive networking, personal charisma, which Swalwell has none. That's a very interesting way to put that. And romantic or sexual relationships, Axios reported exclusively. Amid a widening counterintelligence probe, federal investigators became so alarmed by Fang's behavior and activities that around 2015 they alerted Swalwell to their concerns, giving him what is known as a defensive briefing. The outlet noted, without going into specifics about Swalwell's personal relationship with Fang, only that she bundled campaign money, she bundled something else too, for the California Democrat and served as an intern in his office. Is that like the Bill Clinton intern plan? Is that how that goes? Look, I don't care who leaked the information, but the American people deserve to know what's going on behind the scenes. I've said often that President Trump should declassify everything that isn't going to get somebody directly killed. Because that's part of the reason we have some of the shit that's classified, is because people will get killed if some of this information comes out. But everything else in there should be declassified. We should be able to throw the fucking doors open and see what's happening in the government. As far as Swalwell goes, President Trump leaked this, and that's evil because I'm vocal against him. Never mind what it is that you told Fang, you fuckstick. That's what we need to be more concerned about. Nothing to do with where you stuck your stinky fucking dick. Nothing to do with any of that. I need to know what it is that China now knows about my country. I don't care if you fart after coitus. So let's have an investigation into that, shall we? Alright, let's keep going here. Hunter Biden is back in the news. Federal criminal investigation into Hunter Biden focuses on his business dealings with China. From Evan Perez and Pamela Brown. After going quiet in the months before the election, federal authorities are now actively investigating the business dealings of Hunter Biden. Oh, after the election, you say? Now we're going to investigate this. After we can reasonably put somebody into office that isn't going to have to answer for it. After this, you say? That kid, you know the meme where the SUV is going down the road and the person's getting shoved out of it through the door, and it's usually the organization and the person that they used is the person getting shoved out? That's what's about to happen to Hunter Biden. Now that he can't hurt his daddy anymore because he's president-elect after the safe harbor deadline, that kid is going to prison. Now that the election is over, the investigation is entering a new phase. Federal prosecutors in Delaware, working with the IRS Criminal Investigation Agency and the FBI, are taking overt steps, such as issuing subpoenas and seeking interviews, the person with knowledge said. Activity in the investigation had gone covert in recent months due to Justice Department guidelines prohibiting overt actions that could affect an election, the person said. Oh, really? So it doesn't matter to you that the person who could potentially be the president, who is the chief diplomat of the country, who works with China and the Ukraine, could be getting paid by China and the Ukraine. But we've got to get him into the office so that if we impeach him, we'll get Kamala Harris as the president. Oh no! I see what's going on here, you fuckers. I see what's going on here. But, yes, they've officially thrown Hunter Biden under the bus. Let's keep going. We've got just a couple more here. Then we'll do one thing that I like and two things that I hate. Because apparently I'm way too negative. And I have to have two things that I hate. And then we'll head on out of here. Which is good, because some breakfast sausage scrambled eggs sounds really good right now. Alright, from the Blaze, Massachusetts nursing home to begin accepting coronavirus patients, and some people are sounding the alarm. From Carlos Garcia, a Massachusetts nursing home is set to begin accepting coronavirus patients as some people are sounding the alarm that it might lead to deaths among those who are most susceptible to the virus. Willow Manor in Lowell announced on Tuesday that they would have a portion of their facility isolated in order to accept COVID-19 patients. Oh, really? Ask Andy Cuomo how that works. Some staff members and residents will be dedicated. Oh, wait, no. Andy Cuomo is writing a book for how greatly he handled the pandemic. Some staff members and residents will be dedicated to those patients and not intermix in order to prevent the spread of the virus. State Senate Representative Mark Lombardo criticized the move and called it insanity in a tweet. Yeah, I've got questions. I've got questions about this. We need to figure out what's happening with this, and a stop needs to be put to this. Like I said, ask Andy Cuomo how this works out for you. But keep in mind the fact that the governor of Massachusetts is a rhino that looks like a Democrat, so he'll probably get protected too. Keep that in mind. But this is actually happening. All right. In police news, Minneapolis cuts police funding by $8 million amid crime surge following summer riots. Advice to people in Minnesota: Wisconsin is right there. Has a much better economy. Leave your voting behind. Come on over here and help us get rid of that skinny fucking creepy skeleton Tony Evers. And get away from the people that don't want you to be police protected. From Tyler Olson. The Minneapolis City Council, the city where George Floyd earlier died this year, while in the custody of the police department, passed a budget Thursday that will cut its police funding by $8 million and use the money for mental health and violence prevention programs. Up until that first social worker gets knifed by a guy with a pile of poo in his other hand, almost naked and wearing a loincloth, and some of that poo scattered all over his face. Then they're going to want the police. The plan is for the shifting of police funding, called the Safety for All, follows the City Council's stalled attempt to completely dismantle the Minneapolis Police Department earlier this year. Minneapolis is where the widespread protests about racism and police brutality, which often turn to riots, started before spreading around the country. The City Council adopted a 2021 budget. Minneapolis City Council President Lisa Bender tweeted early Thursday, "All the Safety for All budget proposals passed for 2021 mental health, violence prevention, oversight, and more." All right, I'm gonna advise the surrounding counties and their sheriff's departments, the surrounding municipalities and their police departments, and the Minnesota State Patrol. When Minneapolis reaches out and says, "Please help us, we have a crime surge. We don't have the manpower to do this." My advice to you is to look back at the Minneapolis City Council and say, fuck yourself. Fuck yourself forcefully with a large iron rod. Why would you put your departments in danger? Because Minneapolis decided that a social worker can stop a carjacking. So, that's what's happening in Minneapolis. I got one last one here that I just want to touch very, very, very briefly on, because I don't know enough about it, and this just seems like an advertisement for HBO. So I don't want to go too far into it, because it's controversy. And controversy is what drives it. They want to go back and see the documentary as, oh, look at this family drama, not what's actually happening with the transgender crisis in our country. So this is from the Western Journal. Young transgender goes off on activist mom during documentary filming. It's ruining my life. From Caleb Shumate. An upcoming pro-transgender documentary entitled Transhood follows the story of 4 children in Kansas City and their journey as activists for the transgender community. But at least one scene should give even the most radical activist a reason to reconsider. Here's how HBO describes the film, set for release on Wednesday. Filmed over 5 years in Kansas City, Transhood chronicles the lives of 4 young people aged 4, 7, 12, and 15 at the start of filming, and their families as they navigate growing up transgender in America's heartland. By sharing personal realities of how gender expression is reshaping their lives, the film explores how the families struggle and stumble through parenting, how kids are challenged and transformed as they experience the complexity of their identities. Blah, blah, blah. This is all feel-good shit. Where's the part about the dude? Let's see. There we go. So a lot of people are having a blowback to this. This paragraph here, I want to read from here and go on with that. I find myself angered by the trans community's continual push to normalize the sexualization of children. Children are not sexual objects, nor should they be treated as such. The children featured in this film are 4, 7, 12, and 15. 3 of the children are far too young to even begin to think about sex or what gender they are. Yeah, the 12-year-old is probably right on the borderline. I am a libertarian, and with that being said, I believe that a consenting adult should be able to do whatever he or she chooses with his or her own body. And that's true, and I've been very, very vocal about the fact that I don't care how you pee. One of my best friends is a transgender. I don't care how you pee. I really don't. It's your body, do what you want. But children, especially at 4 and 7, children, on the other hand, do not have a fully developed brain, are not capable of making such life-altering decisions. I do not understand how anyone on the political left could think that having children live as the opposite gender and brainwashing them to believe that they're anything besides what they were born isn't child abuse. The human brain is not fully developed until the age of 25, according to the University of Rochester Medical Center, so why would any reasonable human being think that it's okay to have a child born male live as a female? How is this not considered brainwashing? If a Christian couple had a son who came out as homosexual, and the parents' response was to send him to a so-called straight camp, the establishment media and their progressive allies would have a field day plastering the couple's faces nationwide, branding them as bigots and homophobes. And that is it right there. Once again, switch the parties. Always switch the parties and see what it is that would be going on the other side. He's absolutely right. Or, alternatively, if some 9-year-old boy came out and said to his Christian conservative parents, "Mommy and Daddy, I think I'm a girl," and they took him to therapy, it would be the same fucking thing. What I've seen in the film leads me to believe that these kids are being exploited as political props for an agenda to normalize transgenderism as a whole. In a film segment posted to Twitter by Matt Walsh of the Daily Wire, one of the kids featured in the film, a 12-year-old named Avery, expresses regret concerning promotion of his book about his life at an LGBT youth event in the nation's capital. Let's have a listen to that. Maybe. Because it's archived, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this or not. Let's see. Yeah, I might not be able to do this because that was archived. Alright, we'll figure that one out at another day. But yeah, at this point, that's what we're seeing off of this is... switch the parties. That's the easiest way to put that. And once again, I don't care what an adult does with his or her body. I really don't. It's your body. Do with it what you want to do. But a kid who has no idea what the difference between a boy and a girl is. I mean, some boys might have seen the other girl's parts and understand it's there. They don't know what it's there for, what that means. My 7-year-old nephew has no idea why his sisters are different from him, other than the fact that they have longer hair and wear different clothes. Other than that, he has no idea. Now, once he's 14, 15, he'll probably understand that, but at 7 years old, he has no idea why his sisters are different from him. He just knows that they are. And given the fact that they live in very, very rural America, he probably never will. But, yeah, that's something to look into, definitely. All right. And that's going to be it for the news today. We're going to do a thing that I like and a couple things that I hate. So the thing that I like today is it's Christmas time. I enjoy Christmas music for a very, very, very rigid window. I allow people to listen to Christmas music around me from December 1st to December 25th, and I indulge in it myself. On December 26th, put that shit away. But before and after those two dates, have at it. And I got into chiptunes a little bit over this past summer. 8-bit music. I've always liked 8-bit music, so I was looking around and I was looking for a chiptunes Christmas mix, and I found one over on Spotify. So the link is in my Discord because I was so happy about finding this here. But just to have a little bit of a listen to what this sounds like until the YouTube catchers demonetize me, which is fucking inevitable. They're going to do it anyway. I'll have a listen to what I've been listening to at work for the last couple days. And I mean, there are other ones too. I've been listening to Celtic Christmas, Rat Pack Christmas. Just, not all the pop shit that they keep putting around everywhere. But I enjoy this. And they take They take elements from the old video games too, which I very much enjoy. So let's have a listen to Little Drummer Boy by Rush Coil for about 15 seconds. Alright, the censors will cut me off at that point, and they're already watching me to see what I'm going to say about the election. So that's that. That's something I really enjoy. Hope you guys get a kick out of it. Even if it's a novelty thing, just to listen through the playlist once, it's still entertaining. Hope you guys enjoy that. Alright, and now for a couple things that I hate. So, thing that I hate number one today, from the New York Times, a former newspaper. Disney to reveal plans to turbocharge streaming offerings. And of course, on the top of what they're going to do is Star Wars. Now, Disney actually did very well with The Mandalorian. I've not seen it, but I've heard a lot of rave reviews about the show. So they didn't bastardize that, but they bastardized all the movies at this point. They bastardized the story. And now they're going to go back and expand on what they bastardized from the story. So this could actually turn out good, but I know what Disney's record is. I know what their woke record is. I know how they try to inject their views into the minds of young children. I have no faith that they can make lightning strike twice. I am praying that the Obi-Wan Kenobi project that they have going on gets fucking sidelined. Because Obi-Wan Kenobi is my favorite character in the Star Wars universe. And if they turn him to some sniveling fucking woke thing like they did with Luke Skywalker, I will be having words with Disney, and they will not be pleasant words. And they will not be happy birthday either, by the way. So, I hope that lightning strikes twice, but I have no faith, essentially, at this point. So, expansion of Star Wars for Disney+. Cross your fingers, folks. Thing that I hate number two. From the Daily Wire. China views anti-American U.S. colleges as easy targets to infiltrate. Sends 400,000 students per year, per Pompeo. The fact that this headline has to exist is the thing that I hate today. So, reading briefly from the Daily Wire News, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo warned during Wednesday's speech at Georgia Tech that Chinese Communist Party views many U.S. colleges and universities as easy targets to infiltrate and influence for Beijing's benefit because they are rife with anti-Americanism. Throughout 2020, top U.S. officials have given speeches outlining the threats posed to the United States by Communist China. The Chi-Coms! The officials include Pompeo, Barr, Wray, and National Security Advisor Robert O'Brien. It's that the Chinese Communist Party, the Chi-Coms, want to have what we have. And they will do whatever they must do to take it and get it, Pompeo warned. They will steal our stuff. They will pressure critics of the Chinese Communist Party to keep quiet, and they will do whatever it takes. And that is absolutely true at this point. One of the big things growing up was, my dad's a factory worker. He went through that his entire career. But I was told that I am not supposed to aspire to do the same thing. And that's, making stuff is what people in the Midwest do. Now, I didn't want to be a factory worker. But the fact that the trade was demonized to me, that if you don't go to college, you're going to be a factory worker. And now where are we sending all our factory jobs to? China! So the sentiment is there, the propaganda is there, and it might even be coming from further outside of just the college sphere, but the colleges are making very, very good money. Both pushing anti-Americanism and pushing the idea that you don't want to make stuff for a living. You want to come here and be a thinker. So, just send those dirty factory jobs over to China. No, we don't want those here. Where China can go out and skirt all kinds of environmental protections and pump as much black smog into the air as they can. Not the way that Sully Blue does with his pickup, but kind of in a similar way. You were told to just send those nasty jobs overseas, come in, be collegiate, and be a thinker. And now China is infiltrating the colleges, supposedly, allegedly. I have not seen the documents that prove this or the court case that says that yes, this absolutely happened. But allegedly, China is infiltrating the college scene to make sure that they get those jobs, that they get that manufacturing. And America becomes weakened because, well, I would rather go to college than the military. So, that's what they're doing, and that's the thing that I hate. Get some of these Marxists out of college, and for God's sakes, get the college costs down. At some point, I'm going to make a solo video talking about that, but that's what we're going to have for the day here. We are going to cut it there. Especially if work keeps going the way it is, I'll be back out here later on tonight. We're going to play some video games because I cut it last week due to overtime. I cut it the week before due to Thanksgiving, I believe. Or no, election stuff, just because everything else that was going on. We haven't played for a while. We should go back and sit down and play because we need the break from everything. Hope you'll join me. That will be at 8 p.m. Central Time, of course, where we'll be playing more Super Mario RPG. Hope to see you there. But otherwise, we'll be back here in the morning with more contemporary, more news. And I'm going to go back. I promised I was going to do it today, and then the YouTube thing popped up. But we're going to talk about Casey Goodson and what happened there and why the media won't talk about it. So look forward to that. That's going to be the top thing we see. Hope to see you tomorrow. Looking forward to it. Love seeing you guys. Remember, we will thank everybody who chatted live in the live chat tomorrow. Until then, I'm Jay Edgar, and this is Contemporary.